everybody, welcome back to On the Line with Babsie. I'm your host, Michèle Haines. Oops. Did I say the? I think I missed the. Oh. Okay. Hey everybody, welcome back to On the Line with Babsie. I'm Michèle Haines, coming at you live from soundbox.la in West Hollywood, California-ish. If anybody wants to connect, you can reach us at Chèle on Earth on Instagram. That's CHELE on Earth. And hopefully you can spell Earth, unlike the Earth Cafe, which spells it with a U. Anyway, let's see. We don't have our own website right now because I really don't feel like setting it up. So you can reach us through me. And let's see what oh gosh, let's see what my mom's up to. Well, that was trash, but we'll see what happens.
Hello.
Hi. Something
Hi,
funny?
I was practicing my story.
Oh, okay. Your life story or something else?
No, I was thinking about the billets at Ramstein Air Force Base, but how are you, honey?
Oh, boy, I'm fine, but that can wait.
Oh, okay. How is Tim?
Oh, he's fine. I meant tell your story.
What? You mean we're on the air?
Yeah, like every other time.
Oh. Well, yes. Oh, I thought this was a... Sorry, okay. You can ask me anything.
Sure.
I'm ready.
Okay, good.
Well,
let's see. How were you practicing this story? Are you in a full-length mirror with your lipstick across your face?
Yes. Yes. Well, I was practicing because I couldn't remember everything in detail, but I can start now if you want to.
Go for it.
Well,
we're
do
not
you want
going
me
to
to
fact
start?
check.
Oh, okay. Well, we were going to depart from Ramstein Air Force
Who
Base.
is we?
And we. You, your brother, David, and your father and I.
Okay.
We're leaving Europe.
Okay. Everyone should know
that. Should know what?
Everyone should just automatically know that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Well, anyway, the family, we were leaving from Ramstein Air Base in Germany to go back to the United States. Well, every they don't call it motels, guest houses, different places were full. So we went to the billets. And billets are where soldiers sleep. We went to the billets and we walked in very quietly because it's about midnight, of course. Your father always is late. So that's why everything else was empty. So he said, don't worry, you're going to be able to sleep. I'll do my best. I said, I know you will because you'll never forget it. So we go in, and the fella at the desk said, can I help you? And he said, yes, I'm Captain David Haines. He said, we're to get the C5 tomorrow in the morning, but we can't find a place to sleep. So do you think you could put us up here tonight? He said, it's difficult because we're housing all the pilots here and they need to get their sleep. We can't have any noise.
And he said, great, we'll just sleep in the plane.
Yes, well, no. But he said if you can really be careful about being quiet, you can stay here. Well, So we go up, he gives us the key, we find the room, we go in. Well, it hits us in the face. It was like a sauna in the room. Someone turned up the thermostat to probably 120.
Oops.
And I said to your father, we can't sleep here. I said, it's too hot. I'm all perspired already. He said, now, dear, there are beds here. He said, we'll be able to get through the night.
Can't
so
you
I
open
said,
a
oh,
window?
this is terrible. Well, that was the problem. They were permanent metal windows
So smash it.
and with double pane glass and everything, and there was no way to open them. You could only put on the air conditioning. Well, the air conditioning didn't turn on, and it was blasting heat. And I said, David, we have to get another room. I said, maybe we can sleep with one of the pilots. And he said, no, you
Is
can't
that my
do
real
that.
father?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, well, anyway,
The pilot?
I was desperate for
I
you
think
and
we
the
need to have a talk.
children to get rest. And so he said, you just take care of the children. I'm going to think about what I can do. I said, yeah, well, think fast because I'm going to be ready to go to bed very soon. So the three of us, and then he called your brother David and said, David, come help me. Well, he pried the frame of the window out and he managed to dislodge this huge window.
How quiet
very
was this operation?
Well, the operation was not very loud.
Okay.
It was within the confines of the room, so
Until
I thought
the glass
they're
pane
doing
fell
all
out.
right. Oh, well, so he gets it out, and it's sitting on the sill, and he said, David, come here, I need your help. I said, listen, David, I'll help you. He said, no, David and I can do it. So he takes one side of it, and David takes the other, and they're moving it. I mean, it's a gigantic window, and I don't know how many pounds it weighs, but he begins to move it, and it crashed on the radiator, the control system for the heat and everything. It crashed. It made like an explosion sound, and I said, David, the pilots are all going to be awake. He said, be quiet. I said, be quiet. The whole walls are shaking. And he said they might not have heard it. They might have been very sound asleep. I said, I can't believe that. So, yes. So now the air is coming in. I said, I'm freezing. I said, we can't have a hole in the building. I said, you've got to get that window back in.
David, come here and help me start a fire on the bed. Now I'm hot again. This is the Goldilocks zone. I hate this.
Oh, well. So, I mean, you know, summers in Germany aren't as hot as here in Maryland, and they're very cool at night and everything. And I said, that's all. I said, now I'm cold. So
we only have 3 walls, Barbara. What do you want me to do?
Yes, and I said, oh, now I can't take a bath because there's no heat. So anyway. Say, you don't remember this, honey bunch? You were there.
So many things I've tried to block out from my childhood. Maybe that was one of them.
Well, yeah, it could have been because I said to your father, I said, you've got to get that window back in its place. So he and David tried, and they slipped it in. So we went to bed, it cooled off, and somehow, I don't know if they broke the unit, but the heat stopped. So we
For good.
I don't know.
Did
But
anyone
anyway,
come to the
we went to
room
bed.
asking
No,
what on
nobody came to the room. Oh, I was so scared. I went in the bathroom and hid. And I thought, I don't know Captain Haines at all. You know, if anybody asked me,
I'll just
I'll
hide behind
tell
this
them he
broken
came
radiator.
through the window. Well, I'll just say he climbed through the window. I have no idea who he is.
What husband? And
So,
I threw my ring out the window.
No, I would never do that.
I know.
But anyway, he got the room cooled off. We went to bed, and nothing was ever said. And this is about 2 in the morning now, and so we had to be up at like 5 or 6. So we had hardly any sleep, and I was just dragging. We go downstairs, and your father said, and I said, thank you so much for the room. And he said, you may want to check the window and the air conditioning unit. It was very hot up there. Because I think he permanently broke the window. You know, it wouldn't go back in the way it came out.
Oops.
So he said, oh, we'll be sure to check it. Don't worry about it. And I thought, oh, gosh, just get on the C5 and then take off.
I hear a
So
lot
we
of
had to
swearing
board
in
buses.
German.
No, I don't. I only know one word. So anyway, so we had to board buses at the airfield, and you had to drive. They had to bus us to the airplane because it was the largest plane in the world. I mean, massive.
I thought it was the
Well,
second
you
largest.
know, Michelle. Yes.
Wasn't it the second largest in Russia?
Well, Russia built a larger one after the C5, but I think we have a bigger one now. I don't know. But anyway, at the time, the C5 was the largest plane in the world. And I mean gigantic. Do you remember when we went in, there was a huge engine in the, it was a wrapped thing in the bottom. And then we had to climb up a ladder. Do you remember that? To the seating upstairs?
I remember the inside
anyway.
of the plane, and you could stand up, and there were no windows.
Okay, no. There were only 2 little portholes in the front.
Well, yeah, the
and
pilot has to have a window.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, he had the
pilot with no
windshield.
sleep.
Oh, they were so cute, those pilots and airmen. I just couldn't take my eyes off them. They were so cute. But
Hi,
anyway,
my name is Barbara Haines, and I did not have anything to do with that loud crash last night. Thank you.
Gentleman next to me. But so we get inside the plane, and the airman said, "Do you, ma'am, you have to go up the ladder." And I said, "This ladder?" It was straight up, a metal ladder, straight up to the second floor of the plane. I said, "Oh, my goodness." I said, "I don't know if I can." Well, your father, you know that in each of the countries I had taken a cobblestone, and he had 70 pounds of cobblestones in the camera case.
Already?
And then he had all the cameras around his neck, and the camera case is full of cobblestones because they were manufacturing new cobblestones to lay, and they were ripping up all the old ones.
So we're
I thought,
leaving
"Gee,
Germany.
This is history." Huh?
We were leaving
Yes?
Germany.
Yeah. Well, I, of course, left some. I only took 70 pounds.
No, I'm asking,
But
you were
anyway,
flying out of Germany back to the U.S. or from Ramstein into something else?
No. Flying directly from Ramstein to Dover Air Base in Delaware.
Got it.
So, well, first of all, when we're being bussed out, I got my camera out my little throwaway camera, and I thought, oh, you're going to love to see these pictures of the plane. And someone came in a uniform and said, ma'am, there's a sign up front that says no pictures. I said, oh. I said, do you have to take my camera? She
That
said,
doesn't
I'm
apply
so
to us."
sorry, but no one can take photos of the plane. I said, oh, okay. So I had to give up my camera. Well, anyway, so then we're bused to the plane, and we get in, and they said, this is the ladder you have to climb, and we'll help you. Well, your father is bogged down with 3 cameras around his neck, 70 pounds of cobblestones on his shoulder, plus all my bags, my carrying bags, and I don't know what you and David had, but maybe your backpacks or something. But we had to ascend that ladder straight up. And your father, I was worried about your father, but he got up there. He's a ranger. He can do just about anything. So he got up there, and
Except turn off
the
heat.
airman came down. Huh?
He can do anything but turn off a heater.
I know. Well, it might have been malfunctioning. Maybe that's why nobody was in that room, but they had an extra room, so they probably gave it to us. But anyway.
Great, the Inferno's open. We'll put you in there.
Yes. So we're ascending the ladder one by one, and I said, David, I can't do this. And one of the airmen heard me, and he said, ma'am, we'll assist you. So one was in back pushing, and the other one was helping me with my arms. And I said, oh, this is so difficult to do. I've never done this before.
One man was working my leg
ladder, and I mean, that was several feet, to climb up that plane. So we got up to the top, and I said, this is just the beginning. So we sat down. You and David sat on one side, and your father and I sat in front. And anyway, the airman, would check on all of us. And, he was so cute. And then they served us a little food. And it was because the C5 is so tremendous, it goes slowly. We only went about 500 something, well, it's not knots, miles per hour, I guess. I don't know what a plane does. But anyway, it was around 500 something. That's a little slow. Now, one way was 8 hours, but we had a tailwind. This one had a headwind. I believe it took us 9 hours, but I don't know which way.
Which one was 21 hours?
That was the Labrador Road.
I thought we were on a plane for 21 hours.
No. The most was 9 hours on the C5. No, you were in the camper, the Lasharo on the Labrador Road for 20 hours. Yes. Well, anyway, so we are seated, and I thought, this feels so good. Well, we flew. I didn't even know. And the C5, well, do you remember they give you earplugs because the engines are so loud that you have to protect your hearing for 9 hours. So we all had to put our earplugs in and everything. And then we took off. I said to the airman, when will we be taking off? Because I'm sitting and sitting. He said, ma'am, we're at 30,000 feet right now. I said, oh, really? We couldn't even feel the plane leave. I didn't even know we left. We must have been 100 miles from the airport already. I don't know. So we're up in the air, and we couldn't see out, but this little tiny porthole in front, and I was stretching to see out, and I did see a cloud. So we were up in the air. So after that, we flew, and we ate a little something on board, and then we arrived at Dover Airport, Air Base in Delaware, and they helped us down the ladder, and Nana and Papa were there to pick us up. Your grandparents were there to pick us up, and that was the end of that trip. So, but what I was going to say was in Florence, when your father couldn't find a place to sleep again that night, because we were always
start from the beginning.
Everything.
So we started in Rammstein, not to be confused with Rammstein, one of my favorite bands.
Rammstein.
We rented a German car with German plates, and then we wandered into Italy. And they don't really care for those German plates so much.
At
the time.
I guess. Yeah. What do you remember, honey?
I remember a lot of yelling.
Oh, really? Oh.
Well, yeah, because Dad doesn't plan much, so we're just kind of winging it the whole time. And we needed a hotel very late. Actually, I think the sun was starting to come up, and we were looking for a hotel. And I remember that we waited in the car, and he sent you out to knock on the door of this itty-bitty motel, and an enormous Italian man came to the door yelling in Italian in a striped bathrobe.
Yes, and his little slippers.
Yeah.
Because we woke him up.
Right, but then after a few minutes, we were watching his hands flailing, but then minutes later we see him laughing, and his stomach is shaking because you're making him laugh somehow.
Well, what happened was you never give up your passport when they say, "We want your passport, we'll put it in the safe." Your father and he were arguing, and he's speaking in Italian, and your father's flailing his arms, and he's flailing, and they're going back and forth. "I need your passport." And David said, "I am military, I'm an army officer, we do not give our passports." He said, "You are welcome to not scan them, copy them, but you may not, I cannot give you our passports." He said, "You give me your passport, you don't sleep." He said, "Well, my family has to sleep, so we need a room for the night." This is about 2:00 in the morning. "We need a room. You, David, and I are sitting on the suitcases just watching and laughing because they're going back and forth for about a half hour." And so anyway, they're going on and on and on, and none of them would give up. And I said, "David, just let them have it." He said, "Absolutely not. The military does not give up their passports." I said, "Okay, then keep arguing." So, yes. So he said, "Okay, you come down the hall, I give you a room." And I said, "Oh, thank goodness." So we go in the room, and we go to bed, and everything is fine. So in the morning, we wake up, and Dad said, "Hurry, we need to get out of here. We can have a little breakfast in their little dining area or whatever thing. It came with the room."
Is this the motel with the tiny shower in the middle of the hallway?
No, That's in Weilheim, Germany.
Oh.
We'll get to that one.
Well, excuse me.
That's okay. That's all right. Well, we were in a lot of places, so it's easy to get it confused. So anyway, we wake up in the morning and we're packing our things and getting ready. And I said, oh, wait a minute, that little refrigerator, it came with the room. So I went in the refrigerator and I stuffed all the bottles in my suitcase because I said, listen, David, we need something to drink in the car. Oh, I thought they were complimentary. So we go out to the desk. And your father, wait a minute, maybe he didn't know I took them. So I put them in my suitcase, and he lifted it, and he said, this is heavy. I said, I know. I said, it's full of the refrigerator bottles. I said, there was a darling little bottle of wine that I want to keep, and he said, oh, I don't think you can't do that. I said, just take it out. They won't know anything. So he goes out and he said, Barbara, that's theft. I said, oh, for heaven's sakes. So we go out and one of the Italian men came to pick up my suitcase and he said, what is in here? I said, oh, he said, your father said, my wife has the bottles from the refrigerator and I will be very happy to pay for them. You took the bottles from the refrigerator? I said, yes. I said, we might get thirsty. And he said, you have to pay for those.
I thought you thought they were complimentary.
I did think they were, but they weren't. They weren't. You were supposed to pay for them. And I said to your father, what do I know in Italy about what they put in the refrigerator? He said, it's like any other refrigerator. You don't steal their drinks. I said, I didn't steal. I said we would be thirsty. Well, anyway, we get outside and the man picked it up and he knew that there was something in there that shouldn't be in there because they clanged a little bit, the bottles. Mm-hmm. He could hear them clinging together and everything. So I said, so your father said, we'll pay you. So I don't know, it was like $100 or something, I guess, 1,000 lira. And I thought, oh, shoot. But anyway, we had that little wine bottle I kept for about 20 years. And then when we moved from the house, David threw it out.
What a jerk. Should never have had him.
I wanted that bottle. It was so cute. It had little grapes embossed on it, and it was my favorite bottle, but it's gone.
Oh, well, we'll have to go back and steal another one.
Yes.
Maybe you'll go to a foreign prison.
Well, your father said, listen, if you end up in Italian jail, there's nothing I can do for you. I said, oh, David.
At least I'll have my wine.
Not going to happen. He said, well, you took cobblestones from Rome and all the other places, France and every place. He said, you were very lucky not to be arrested. I told you that you're going to get in trouble. That is theft. I said,
excuse me, Pope, step aside.
History.
I want that rock.
Yes. I said, this is history. And they're going to throw those cobblestones out. Well, they're right here in the house. And they made a really safe trip and everything. But so we had a little something to eat. And we had a drink from the refrigerator. And then we went on our way.
Drink that slowly. It's $100.
Yes. But anyway, so getting back to Weilheim, Germany, that was a fun stop, too, because, of course, we're late again at night. Nothing's open. And we find this little guest house, and they said, yes, we have a room, and they gave us the key, and we were looking and looking, and it was kind of a dingy place. And I thought, so your father opens the door, and I said, oh, I have to, wash my hands in the bathroom. So I said, David, where's the bathroom? And he said, it's not in here. I said, there isn't a bathroom in here.
Well, let's take the window out and see if it's behind there.
No, there was no bathroom in the room. I said, well, where do you go to wash your hands? And he said, I'm not sure. So he goes out, and there's the toiletta in the hall behind a glass door that's frosted. And I said, oh, my goodness. And then there's a shower, like 10 feet tall. It was a huge shower for one person, and you had to shower in the hall.
Yeah, and wasn't the shower
And
unstable?
the shower was right outside our door. I didn't know that was a shower. It looked like a telephone booth.
And Dad was the only one willing to go. We all opted out of showering for that. But Dad used it, and we were watching.
He's a soldier, so.
Yeah, well, we were watching him. Not in the shower, but I guess there was a curtain around or something. But we were watching as it was really tight in there, and it was unstable. And like every time he like bumped his arm or something, you could see it kind of leaning this way and that way.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, I'm learning more about our funny things that happened. I didn't know that. And in fact, I didn't even know he took a shower, but he always had to have a shower. And he would, he can, slum it wherever he has to. He was used to being out in the field and, washing in a stream or something. So, but anyway, so we got through that, and I don't know where we ate. We probably ate at a little guest house someplace, but I thought I have a picture someplace of that shower in the hall and the bathroom in the hall and everything. I mean, it's like nothing in the United States.
Oh, good. Well, I hope you find that.
Oh, I hope so too. They stole all of our slides and projector and everything. And when the sprinkler pipe burst and the water went downstairs, well, all those not renovation, what do you call it? A restoration people came. They kept us busy upstairs because we were in shock with all the water. And then they went downstairs and they went out the back door.
Wow, they're taking the water out in
all of our
cardboard boxes.
Yeah, well, we never saw them. We never saw them because we were upstairs in shock. And they were downstairs cutting the rug and everything and carrying the rug out. But they also carried every single box out, including your boxes for California. They took everything out and loaded a truck, I suppose. They had trucks all over. And they knew exactly what they were doing. And I'm finding out more and more to watch these people because when they come in to help you, they help themselves to your belongings also.
Didn't we have a cat?
We lost a lot of things, yeah.
Great.
So all the slides that were not within that area that was wet, so I don't know, exactly what slides. I have a few up here, and they're of Germany when I was little, so I don't know. But anyway, so that was an experience. But yes. Oh, and what about Uncle Steve?
Oh, yeah, we can call him at some point.
Oh, well, it's, Are you calling him now?
We can. Oh, but didn't you
Oh.
wanna talk about NFTs?
What? Oh, non-fungible tokens.
Yay!
Oh.
You remembered.
Yes. Oh, well, you know that fellow with the non-fungible piece of art sold it for $69 million through Christie.
I know.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe it. It was a digital piece of art, and it was very large and everything. It was like a collage.
Mhm.
But 69 million, my goodness, we should all go into NFTs.
Hey, get on it.
But
All you need is the
yeah, I
you
don't know how to do it, but
just draw something.
it would
to
be
start.
very interesting.
Yeah.
So, what other things do you remember, Michelle? Because I'm finding out that from you and David that you saw things that I didn't see.
Well, I think we all remember probably different bits and pieces, so we can
Yes.
the whole
Yes.
puzzle together. I remember in
Yes.
Munich, the glockenspiel was broken when we got there, so we just looked at them.
It was? Oh.
Oh,
Oh, that's a shame.
darn.
Well, let me see. I'm trying to think of what else.
Don't
Oh,
bother.
the boat. But I don't want to keep you too long, you know. Do you want me to tell you about the boat trip?
Go for it.
Oh, okay. Well, your father had bought a tri-hull boat, and
Wait, where are we? Are we in
of
Germany?
course. Oh, no, we're back in America.
Wow, that was...
At
we could
the old
teleport
house.
back
Oh,
then.
you want me to stay in Europe for a while?
No, you do whatever you
Oh,
want, but it
I
helps to know.
Oh, yes. Well, I can tell you about Czechoslovakia when we went up the mountain from Germany into Liechtenstein and over to Czechoslovakia. And your father, I wanted to go to the post office and mail
Fun.
postcards from Czechoslovakia.
Mhm.
So this is not long after the wall came down in Europe, East and West Germany. And Czechoslovakia, of course, was communist. So they were not, this is where the German plate was not very welcomed, and that was in Czechoslovakia. Actually, in Italy, the Germans are welcome, but it was Czechoslovakia you're thinking of, where they were almost like Gestapo still. The thinking of these Czech police were not friendly. So we drove in, and your father said, "Don't say anything." And I said, "Okay." So we go in the post office, and I'm sitting there, and a lady said, "Oh, Amerikanischen."
You told
I
us
said, "Yes,
already.
American." I told this already?
Yeah.
Oh,
But we only have
sorry.
9 episodes, so probably don't need to
Oh.
repeat anything yet.
Okay. Well, then we'll come back to the United States, and I'll tell you about the boat.
Oh, great.
Yes? Oh, okay. Well, your father bought a tri-hull boat, and I think it was like 12 feet. And he said to Aunt Luba and Colonel Ionescu came on the boat with your father and I, and Aunt Luba was expecting. And she was a little hesitant to go, but I said, "Oh, listen, we've got 2 big men. We'll be fine." So, anyway, we get on the boat, and we're going to go from Havre de Grace down to the inner harbor. And your father made me go to a boating school to take lessons about the tides and the time they come in and come out, and how to handle a boat in certain emergencies and everything. And so we went to that boating class a few days a week, and he had all his papers, all his charts out and everything. And he said, "Is everybody ready?" I said, "Yeah, we're ready." So we start out, and we're in the channel. Everything's going fine. Our hair is blowing in the wind. And I said, "Oh, Luba, isn't it lovely?" And she said, "Yeah, it's nice."
Sounds like Aunt Luba.
Aunt Luba's not too excited. Well, actually, I was surprised that she came with expecting. So anyway, we're bouncing through the water, and your father was late in leaving, and to go from Baltimore by boat, from Havre de Grace to Baltimore, is a bit of a trip, longer than he ever expected, because as we're going, the tide begins to go out, and we end up on a sandbar. And
just like
the
they said in
boat
class.
is stuck. And these two infantry officers don't know what to do. And I said, "Why don't you get out of the boat and push us back in the water?" So your father said, "Yeah, maybe we can." I said, are you telling me we have to wait hours until the tide gets back in?" So he said, "Oh, I don't think so." I said, "You know what? You better get this boat in the water, or you're never going to see the light of day again." So he and Tony are out on the sand trying to push Aunt Luba and I. They've got the oars under and trying to use it as a lever, a fulcrum or whatever, to get us back into the channel. And I said, "Are you doing anything? Because I don't feel us moving." And he said, "Just give us a little time." And I said to her, she said, "Oh my gosh, I'm getting nervous." She said, "They don't know what they're doing."
Try taking the window pane out.
So I said to her, I said, "Listen, Luba, I'm so sorry." I said, "I thought they knew about the tides and everything."
Hey, you took the class too.
"Oh." Yes, I did too, but I didn't look at the times or anything. So
I cheated off your father. I didn't learn anything. David, what's the answer to number 5? I gotta go home.
Attention, because I was mad going there anyway. I said, "Why do I have to take the course? You're the one driving the boat." And so anyway,
I just want to sit there and yell at you when you mess up.
Listen. But he's always late. So I guess the tide went out sooner than he thought, of course. And he's saying, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry." I said, "Stop saying that and get us back in the water." So we're half in the water, and they're pushing and pushing. Finally, enough of the tide came back, and I don't know how many hours. By the time we got to the inner harbor, it was pitch black, and all you could see were the lights of the pavilions and everything. And I said, "David, turn around, get back in there," because we were going to have dinner. It was going to be such a lovely evening. We're starving. It's pitch black. And I said, "You better get us home, or you're going to be bait." So he turns around the inner harbor. He said, "Isn't it pretty, girls?" And we said, "Oh, shut up." Talking to the two of them the whole way home. So then he gets back in the channel, and he said to Tony, "Do you see a buoy?" And he said, "No." And I said, Nathan. I said, this is scary. There were no boats around. We were the only one. He didn't have a big searchlight or anything, so we're in the pitch black, and they're looking for the buoys. Well,
aren't there
finally,
lighthouses
we
everywhere
got home.
in Havre de Grace?
No, there
sure?
are buoys with lights on them to designate the channel, but it was so dark, and I didn't even know if he was in the channel. I don't know where he was.
Even on the water is still.
So pitch black, and I said, we better call the Coast Guard. I said, you don't know where we are. We might be heading into we may end up in Alaska. Who knows? So with these two men, and I thought,
think I see
what?
Sarah Palin over there. This is not good.
Yes. I said to them, you're Army. You're not Navy. You don't know anything about boats except what you thought you learned in that class, and you didn't learn anything.
You should have gotten a tank instead.
He said, I can't see the map right now. He said, now just take it easy. We'll get there. Everything's going to be all right. Well, we pull back into the dock at about 2 in the morning when everybody's asleep.
It's the golden
and they
hour
tied
for you.
the boat, and they took us home, but they went back to get the boat, and I guess he came in around 5 in the morning. I said, you know what? That's it. You're going to sell that boat. That's it. I'm never going on that boat again, and I didn't. So that was the end of that. But anyway.
Oh, boy.
So, yes, we always had adventures.
Yeah, if that's what you want to call them.
And we survived.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised that we survived. And, your father is an airborne ranger.
Oh, yes.
I mean, he is... he's trained for everything in warfare.
Defies
but to
logic.
do anything normally, he couldn't do it. So anyway, that's the life, yes. But
well, at least he has your
look
support.
back and laugh.
Yeah.
Yes. So, so how are you, honey?
I'm still fine. Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Okay.
I guess we could go ahead and call Uncle Steve, see what he has going on.
Oh, my goodness, really?
Oh, my goodness.
Well, it's up to you and Tim.
I don't know if Tim is still here. Oh, Tim gave the thumb up.
Oh, hi, Tim. How are you? Yes, fine, thank you. It's good to hear your voice. I always love it. Are we still on?
Yes.
Oh, you're sweet. Are we on?
Yes, the whole time.
Oh.
Give me a call. So
yes.
how do you feel after your vaccine?
Oh, I'm much better. But it almost took a week. I felt very tired. Oh, that sounds like a show.
Yes, it does. You're always tired, though. Aren't you?
A different kind of tired.
Oh.
I'm not always tired.
I didn't mean it badly, but you always say, I'm tired.
Oh yeah.
I'm so tired. Boy, I need to sit down.
Oh.
Hello, this is the Wallace Haines Company's robotic secretary. We can't take your call this moment, but we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Please leave your name and your telephone number and the time you called. Thank you.
Oh, you know what? He might not be answering on purpose because it's
You say, Michelle, you should have given him a chance.
Oh, a chance.
Go ahead. You say. His robotic is on.
Oh, we're not leaving a message. I'm texting him.
Oh, you're texting him. Oh,
Anyways,
okay.
So you only felt tired
it's too late.
after the your COVID vaccine?
Did I feel tired?
That's all you felt?
Yes, which was wonderful. I could handle that. I thought I was going to be ill, but no, it was just lethargy. And same with David. I had the Pfizer. David had the Moderna, and he was miserable for days, very tired. Now, I don't know what else bothered him because he wouldn't say. He said, "Don't talk about it. I don't want to think about it." So he didn't say in detail, just about how tired he was. But he might be delicate.
I don't think that's something I want you to say. Oh, boy. Well,
but anyway, he feels better today, and I do too.
When do you have to get the brain swab?
Oh, that. Well, we're not sure because David is going to have a special test with his doctor. Tuesday, the doctor will be calling him via Zoom, and then they will decide when his procedure is.
You don't need to know all
if
this.
You know what I mean.
I know. I don't want to know. I just wanted to know about the swab. You were worried about touching your brain.
Oh, well, that's what a person said on the news. It rubs your brain. And I thought, mine is so small it'd miss it. So, I don't have to worry. My little pea brain.
Yeah.
It's hard to find. But the thing is,
came right out
all of my doctors, I alerted my doctors on my chart, which is a chart that you can contact and leave messages. I said, "Oh, Dr. Greer, I have to have a swab. I'm nervous." Then I went, "Oh, Dr. Monkheimer, I'm so nervous about the swab. Oh, Dr. Bienvenu, I'm so nervous about the swab."
So all three
of
their
them
names.
wrote, "It'll be okay."
Great.
So
yes, we could try again. I thought we weren't going to say last names,
dear.
but that's okay because it's a good thing. But you were telling me how unfungible it sounded. Having a stick go that up so far.
Well, it goes into the sinus, yes. But they said it's uncomfortable. Dr. Greer said, my doctor said it is uncomfortable for about 10 seconds. So I'll be counting, but I don't know. I might put it off until July, but my hand is getting smaller, and so is my wrist. Yes, well, because the muscle atrophies.
Your whole hand is shrinking?
Yes, it's shrinking in
But even
the muscle.
Stephen.
Hi, Uncle Steve.
Oh, is that you,
Good evening,
Steve?
this is Steve. Good evening, this is Stephen. I get even with a heathen.
There we go. That's the rest
Are
of
you
it.
heathen?
Yes, Michelle is.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
She's not heathen now.
No, she
you?
isn't.
Oh, terrible.
Yes.
How are you?
Yes, what a terrible thing to say.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
Good
sorry.
evening.
I shouldn't have said that.
That's okay. It's
Oh, come on. I'm just kidding.
Me too.
Just kidding now.
Me too.
we
I'm
know.
just kidding too.
Did we wake you up or something?
Oh, or something.
Oh.
Mostly or something.
Oh no. Okay.
Oh, okay.
No,
We won't ask.
no, you didn't wake me up. No, you didn't wake me up.
Oh.
Good.
It is true. It is quite true that I screen calls and
Yes.
calls
Sorry.
from weird numbers, as you say.
Right.
I tend not to answer.
That's a good
I
practice.
know, and I said to Michelle, I think Uncle Steve should know we're calling. We're on a conference call.
Well,
we already know that Mom is always right. This time and always.
Yeah.
So.
Did you ever see that? Did you ever see that that card. It's a greeting card. And it shows a cat with a face that looks strange. It's looking towards the right, and it seems to be amazed. Okay. It's just a cat with a kind of like open-eyed amazement.
Huh.
And inside, it says, the moment you realized that your mother was right about everything.
Well, Mom always drives it home,
isn't
so.
that wonderful? Oh,
Yeah.
I wish I were right about everything. I'm usually wrong.
Oh, really?
Well, just you should get. I should send you that card. It's a gorgeous card because it just has this cat, a rather just an ordinary cat, but he's got this look on his face.
Oh, send it
That's
to me
rather,
now.
It's rather puzzling.
Yeah. Is he smiling or looks more afraid?
Excuse me?
Is the kitty smiling or looks more afraid? Like,
well, he's not smiling or anything. How do cats smile? I don't know how they smile. It just, it's hard to describe it because he looks like a cat, and he's looking sort of to the right, but a little upwards, and the eyes are kind of open, and it just says inside, the moment you realized that your mother was right about everything.
does it have
Wouldn't that
all
be
the R's?
wonderful if I were?
Oh.
But I'm not.
Well, whenever Dad is involved, you are, so at least you have that.
Oh, good. That's
Anyway.
good.
Now, why do you say that? The moment... Why do you say
Well,
that?
we were just telling some stories where, Dad got a boat stuck on a sand dune and, he shouldn't have done that, and he shouldn't have been late.
Sandbar, honey bunch.
Excuse me? Without the honey bunch? What was that?
Sandbar.
Sandbar. Oh, I'm sorry. A hill of sand. I got sorry.
It's very important to know that it was a sand bar and not a sand dune.
Well, the card was
Because,
right.
see, a sand dune would be perhaps too tall, and it would be like an iceberg, and your father would have been careful to avoid it, you see.
I don't know.
On the iceberg.
That's questionable.
Trust me.
David, how did you get up there?
Is that Michelle describing Mom?
Yeah.
How did you get up there?
Yeah. Oh, me? Oh. She does a very good impression of me.
Oh, I try. Well, Mom wanted to hear your take on a story about, what was it, Mana crossing into East Germany or something?
Yeah, with the piece of furniture, Steve. I don't remember the story. You know it.
Well, okay. Basically, I mean, there's several points of view on this story because your grandmother disappeared, for about 18 hours. We had no idea where she was.
Uh-oh.
Here's and my brother and I, your father that is, and I were in West Berlin.
Right.
And we saw her off. Now you understand. Actually, she didn't have a piece of furniture. She had the empty van at that time.
What was going on here? Was
Well, here's what happened. You see, we bought this.
Now listen, honey.
Now listen, honey. Make
Just
sure you
trying
get
to
all
get
the
the
details. Now, are you taking notes here?
As well as Mom in her boating
tell
class.
The story.
What?
Tell the story.
You don't make Uncle Stevie tell it twice.
No.
Because you know how he runs at the mouth. He just runs away and all that. And no, that's not the reason.
Story.
Yeah, you want to save Uncle Stevie the energy in his old age because, after all, he can kick the bucket in the middle of the story. You never know.
Well, we better hurry and get it out then. No.
Yeah,
We better hurry and get it out.
The time is ticking, Steve.
Yeah, the time is yes, it's ticking. That's correct. That's the way. Yes, and the night is young and all that. And anyway, basically what it involved is we were at the flea market in Paris. That's the southeast of Paris is in the suburbs. I don't know exactly where.
Were you and Dad
we
young?
were at the flea market. I was 17.
Oh, okay.
I was
wonderful.
around. No, wait a moment. Let me think about that.
Well, wait
Actually,
a minute.
no.
You were at Stony Brook.
No. You're right. So at 17, I was graduated from Stony Brook. So this is later. This is 1970, actually. And I went back to France because my mother said, I had a kind of breakdown. See, I stopped. I took a break from school and all that because I was having a lot of depression and all. And so my mother said she was going to. I'm making the story a bit long, am I? You think? Anyway, my mother said that I was going to. She wanted me to get treatment from Madame Brassiere, who was a psychologist.
Oh,
and
sounds
she
like
was my
fortune teller.
Yeah, Brassiere. We called. That when we were children, we had about 10,000 aunts and uncles that were adopted. This is because my parents felt that we should never call an adult by their first name. We should always say Monsieur, Mr., Monsieur, Madame, or whatever. Or if they were very close to the family, if they kind of supported the family, and my father wanted to endear himself to them, we should call them aunt or uncle something. So this was Tante Suzanne.
Yes.
And they were very close friends of my father and my parents in France. And I was going to, so I was taken to France. Pardon? It's spelled B-R. No, dear. No, it's not that funny. Unfortunately, it's not that funny. Brassard is B-R-E-S-I-R-D. So B-R-E-S-A-R-D. And anyway, one of the most remarkable things. Now, you don't know what a quatre chevaux is. You know what a deux chevaux is? They were called 2-horsepower cars in France, and they would run. They were very simple. They were just pieces of metal that had canvas seats in them, But a quatre chevaux, a 4-horsepower car, was a very little Renault. These are little tiny Renault with the engine in the back, and they were really tiny. They were small. They'd go through the street. They could go through anything. They were almost like motorcycles.
Weren't they? We used to have the Messerschmitt, and that was a one-person car. Do you remember them?
These actually were 4-person cars, but you couldn't believe how 4 people could sit in them. I mean, from the outside, it looked like you were getting into a kind of toy. Well, Oncle Marcel was extremely tall. And the marvelous, the miracle that seemed to happen whenever he got into his quatre chevaux, that means 4 horsepower.
Yes.
See? Now, horsepower in France was determined a different way, from here. It was a lot more energy than we have here. But anyway, he would get into his quatre chevaux, his 4 horsepower Renault, and it seemed like he began to kind of like shrink. He was enormous. He was over 6 feet tall, and he was hefty and all that. And he would kind of sink into that car, and then he would. You couldn't believe that he could fit in it. Anyway, this is all on the aside. But anyway, I was to go to France. You see, so I went to France in I've forgotten, around January, February, March, something like that. And then, while we were in France, we were in Paris. Excuse me?
1970.
Yeah, 1970. Right. I was.
Okay.
I would have been, 20. Well, I was going on 21 years old. You see, and we went to the flea market, and we found this magnificent cabinet. It had a sculpted heads in the front, sculpted head. I have it now here in the house. Yeah, you said you didn't want it, so my brother brought it back to me right here.
Oh.
Anyway, it was only 500 francs.
I didn't want it. I wanted the
you didn't
family
want
to have it back since we were in a
Oh,
smaller
okay.
house.
All right. Well, my brother was delighted for me to hear. He had forgotten that the purpose the reason why we gave it to David was because this might be classified, but anyway, David was allowed a container. The army would pay for a container of his goods after he was, after he left West Germany. You see, he was, in the Allied command, and after he left West Germany, he was allowed a container of stuff to bring
furniture
back.
and home goods.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we saw two things that I really wanted. I wanted this magnificent side table. It's a kind of side table, but it had a hutch, on it. It has actually 3 pieces, and I have dishes across that my brother David bought for me in all of the French Revolution and all that. And anyway, I wanted to get that, and it was only 500 francs there.
Yeah.
Now 500 francs at that time was $100. It was $100.
Yeah.
$100.
See, in Germany, it was 4 marks to the dollar, so it was very
well. At
cheap,
that time, this was after De Gaulle. So it was let's see, 1970 was after he had resigned. He died later that year. Yeah. But De Gaulle he had already made the franc 5 to $1. So you see, 500 francs was $100. Anyway, and then we also bought that statuette there that I really wanted. Anyway, Mother said, well, the only way we can get that thing is if we take it to Germany and have David ship it back to the United States.
Sure.
So we did that. We bought it there.
Right.
And I don't know how we got it to the apartment in Paris, but anyway, at some point, my mother borrowed from a friend a Volkswagen van, you see. And we were going to take this furniture and all these things to Germany, to West Germany. And in doing that, at the border of East Germany, see, if you're driving, you were allowed to drive. There were 3 autobahns. Now, an autobahn is like a freeway, see, except that it wasn't quite free at that time. If you left the autobahn, you'd be arrested. Oh. But you were allowed, because East Germany was communist, you see, you were allowed to drive through any one of these 3 autobahns from West Germany to West Berlin, you see, as long as you didn't leave. Yes. But at the border, they not only looked through all your stuff, they made an inventory, and of course they had all this stuff. Like you had a whole couple pages of your passport that would put up with all these official, insignias and all that, and then and I remember the boy who looked through our goods, and he thought we were he thought we were some kind of royalty. He couldn't believe what we had. I mean, these are poor kids, who lived in East Germany. But anyway, we went to West Berlin, and we stayed a few weeks, and it was decided that I would stay with my brother for a couple months, and he would get me a job in his fiance's father's. Her father was a lawyer, okay, And he would get me a job, and he did get me a job with Robert Bosch Gemeinschaft mit beschränkten Heftigen. That means incorporated. But, the German,
they called him for short.
The German, it's a mouthful,
Yeah, GBMH is the way it is with capsules and stuff like that. Yeah. It means incorporated. It actually means Gemeinschaft. It means a business mit beschränkten Heftigen with limited liability. That's really what it means.
Liability.
Sort of like limited.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
And this is Dad's first wife.
Whenever I want to make fun of the Germans, I say Gemeinschaft mit beschränkten Heftigen. Because it sounds so German. It's like Christian Runkel who said, he said, if you want to speak real German, you've got to bark like a dog.
Yes, well, it's very guttural, that language. It certainly is a romantic language, but anyway, a romance language, yes. But very
it's
guttural,
not
yes. But
it's Teutonic.
It's what?
Anyway, it's a Teutonic language like our own, you see. And the Romance languages are ones that are... Now, you do have two different ways of saying the R in German. In southern Germany, you roll it. Gemeinschaft mit beschränkten Heftigen.
Bavarian.
But in northern Germany, in Hochdeutsch, it's guttural, Beschränkten,
but Bavaria is considered the Hicks. And the High Germans look down on the Bavarians. But anyway, go ahead with the story.
Well, the Bavarians, were a separate country. Yeah, so I'm staying with David. Okay, and at one point, my mother, by the way, I must tell you something about your father, Michelle.
Okay.
Your father would have now your father had this knack. He was sort of like his own father, like my father, who was liked to get bargains. One time, my mother, while she was there, she said, "Well, David, we do need some pepper. Could you get some pepper at the PX?" So he came back with a huge vat of pepper. And my mother looked at it. She said, in 12 or 14 lifetimes, I'd never used as much pepper as that.
That's called bulk.
He said, it's a bargain. It was a bargain. It was cheaper to get it that way.
We get the forklift over here. We got to get this pepper home.
You got it.
Come home with big things too. I said I'll never use that for as long as I live. Oh yes, so go ahead. Yes.
Anyway, I'm sorry for those asides. You can edit them out if you want. I don't care. Anyway,
it's great.
well, at any rate, now the problem came that Mother had to drive the van, the Volkswagen van, back to Paris, you see.
Yeah.
She had to leave and drive it back to Paris. Now, she was going to have to go through East Germany, of course, and she had to stay on the roads. There was a problem with the van, and that is sometimes you'd turn it off and it wouldn't start.
Oh, great.
And you'd have to get help. Now, it was okay with me. I spoke some German, you see, so it was okay with me.
Right.
My mother didn't speak a word of German, It was okay with me because I would always get somebody to help us while we were going there, you see. But on the way back, it was a little more difficult. And so if Mother even stopped to, if we stopped to, to do the necessary things that human beings are often required to do for reasons that they wish they didn't have to do, but unfortunately are forced to, The things that Voltaire, the great French philosopher, said were a bit the humiliation of the human race, but you had to do them anyway. You understand? This is a long way of saying going to the bathroom. But leave it to your Uncle Stevie to say it always the long way.
Right.
You know?
I think we're all on board with that. Okay.
I wish I had you. I wish I could repeat that the way you did.
Oh, well, it'll
No,
be
that
on
was
tape.
beautiful. That was a perfect repartee.
Really?
We're all on
You
board
have to
with
send that to me.
Well,
Oh, you have to email that to me because I want to learn how to say that. Nobody
How
will
to
know
say
what
go to
I'm
the bathroom?
talking about.
oh, wow.
Yeah, the short way.
Okay.
Oh, the long way. Well, yes. Well, that's okay.
Anyway.
Yes. Yes.
Shall I get back to the
Practice later.
story? I mean, if there is any left, you know.
Yes.
Oh, yes, there is.
At any rate,
Your
so
mother hasn't
my
gotten lost yet.
No. Well, it's not that Mother got lost. Now, we had maps and all that in those days, you know. And Mother
Right. Sure.
knew the rules, and my brother drilled into her the fact that she could not leave. You are not allowed to leave the Autobahn at any point from West Berlin to wherever it was, Marienburg or wherever I think it was Marienburg or I'm not sure, one of those towns in West Germany. You had to go to from one checkpoint to the next, you know, without getting off the Autobahn. Anyway, we took her to the checkpoint early that morning, and we said goodbye. You know, we wanted to go and ask the East German guards to be nice to her if possible.
Right?
You know, what could you do?
Yeah.
So she went off in the van, and then we waited, and at nighttime there was nothing. We did not hear any call. I don't know. I think we called Paris, but I don't know if my father was home at the time. But anyway, we didn't find out anything. So we began to worry. And we worried all night long. I couldn't sleep. So early that morning, before I had to go to work, we went to the checkpoint at East, you know, to the, and they even allowed us, the West Berlin police allowed us to go over and talk to the East German police. And we begged them. We described our mother. We described the van. I don't know if we had the license number or not. It was French license.
Right.
But anyway, so, and it would have F for France, you know, for France in the back.
Yes.
Big F with a circle. And but we described all that to them, and there was no information.
Oh, my.
So we had to wait all day, and it was agonizing. And it wasn't until, sometime late the next day that we finally got a telephone call. My mother, I think, was stopped either in France or right on the edge. I think it was probably, she waited till she was in France before she called us. She said that she had been stuck on the Autobahn. She had, for some reason, had to stop and find a way of taking care of those, some of those natural needs that human beings sometimes have to take care of. Now she would usually leave she would leave the engine on, but this time the engine went off.
No. Oh dear.
And so she got back to the van and she did not know what to do. She was on the side of the Autobahn. She was not allowed to leave it. Of course, there wasn't an exit nearby and all that. And my mother's part of the story are that some angels appeared. Now, these angels were in the form of 3 children. Some children. There was one older one and a couple younger ones who were walking along the side of the Autobahn. Whether they should be or not, I don't know. I mean, she wasn't going to call the police.
To, but yes.
But nevertheless, they came along, and my mother just made the motions to push the van, push the van.
Yes.
And then she got in that, and the children pushed the van. And they were able to push it enough to get it to start.
Wow.
Michelle, you don't know what cars were back before you were born. They were often cars. Automobiles did not often have. They didn't have. They weren't as reliable as they are now.
I've had plenty of exposure to that. With Dad's tractor,
they were not filled
Jeep,
with computers.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they were not. And they were often rather. They would have a personality of their own, and if they didn't want to move, they wouldn't move.
Well, we had a truck that that Dad's goat locked him out of, so I think I have an idea of what.
Oh, of course.
Yes.
His father's truck, his famous truck.
Right.
Yeah. It almost made a mechanic out of your father. The problem is it didn't quite make it. He did, but he did understand a lot of things. He said, "Well, if you move that gadget to the left, and then turn this gadget on the right a little bit, and then you shake it a little, then it will start."
Add a little tank tape to that, and you're good to go.
A little bit. Well, I didn't hear that quite. What did you say?
Little tank tape. He would put tank tape on everything.
Oh yes, that's right. Yeah.
Or
that's right. That would keep it from, I guess, jiggling too much or something.
Yeah.
Is that what you said? Duct tape.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yes, but oh boy.
Yes.
Wow.
Well, anyway, so my mother's belief, you see, was that she was praying and these angels showed up and they helped her push the car. And finally she was able, after, a delay of, I don't know how long she was on the side of the road, but she was able to get the car, the van moving. And she was so frightened from then on, she didn't want to stop in all of Germany, you see. And this is why we didn't hear from her until later.
Oh, wow.
That day.
Oh, I believe her.
Goodness. So she was gone a day and a half or...
Jeez.
I don't know. I mean, she was gone. I don't remember exactly how long it was. It was something like 36 hours before we heard from her.
Goodness.
I said 18 at first. It wasn't. It was more than that because we had to go to the checkpoint and all that, and I was probably late for work that day. But there's something you need to know about your Uncle Stevie too.
Oh, yes.
Michelle.
Yeah, what?
And that is that I was the honored to be the employee of Robert Bosch Gemeinschaft mit beschränkten Häftlingen for 2 months.
I want you to send me that name.
Now, understand, Michelle, that I'm going to confess something to you.
Okie doke, I'm ready.
There
I'm
is
sitting.
a tinge of...
Yes.
Well, yes, to both of you. There is a tinge of, let's say, I'm a little ashamed of what I'm going to tell you. I feel a bit guilty because I don't know how many walkie-talkies sold by Robert Bosch Gemeinschaft mit beschränkten Häftlingen were affected by this. But I was in charge of testing. I was in charge of testing at Robert Bosch Gemeinschaft mit beschränkten Häftlingen. And I would take these walkie-talkies. They were large. They were big units. They were kind of control units, and then they were the things there. And I would take them to this room where I would then have to attach them to circuits, you see. And then for that. And then I'd have to attach them to a shaker, a kind of machine that would just shake them, like crazy. And then I'd have to attach them to other things. These were testing things.
Yes.
Now, my boss spoke with that kind of Berliner accent that
Yes.
it's sort of like hearing someone with an Irish brogue from a very provincial area of Ireland speaking, but not in the 21st century, somebody in the middle of maybe the 20th century doing that.
Oh.
Anyway,
I
he
see.
had an extremely harsh Berliner accent.
What does
He
that
spoke
sound
like
Yes.
And that means hello?
No, it's not. No, you're exaggerating. No, it's just that you know how the Germans love to. In German, you know, the sentence that we are familiar with is completely rearranged so that you have all the participles and the, well, not the participles, the auxiliaries come at the end. So I used to kind of mock it by saying werden wurde, you know, at the end, because that was one. So often you would have different conditions, you see, that would be implied by that.
What does that mean?
So to learn
speak
German,
very well, Steve.
yeah, but that was gibberish. Now my imitation of the Berliner accent was gibberish.
Very
Nobody
good
knows.
Yeah.
gibberish, though, Auf Deutsch. Yes.
At any rate, you know, in German, it's a complicated language because it's extremely, you know.
It is.
Well, the concepts are kind of different. You see, are different from ours. You know.
Yes.
And anyway, he gave me the instructions, and he repeated them a couple of times, and I understood nothing of it except that I had to put it on this machine as he showed me, and then I had to put it on that machine and attach it as he showed me, and that I did.
Yes.
And I'll tell you, my production was very good.
Good.
At times, I
yes.
was taking a cart full of these machines to the testing room. 10 minutes later, I was rushing them back to the place where they would then test to see how they were and all this. And I was very good. I was really on top of all the amount of equipment that they were giving me to test.
Yes.
It wasn't until 6 weeks into my employment with Robert Bosch Gemeinschaft mit beschränkten Häftlingen until my boss realized that I was going too fast and I was coming back with the same equipment too quickly, you see. And so he had a conversation with me again.
Oh, what
and
did
his
he say?
conversation went something like this. Herr Haines,
Oh, that can't be good.
I understood that he was not happy with me. So
Did you know?
I said, bitte, wollen Sie bitte ein bit, now I can't remember how you say lentement, how you say slowly. Can you say that a little slowly?
Uh-oh.
A little less quickly. And so he would say, well, Herr Haines, das Haines, du
That's better.
So I was lucky that one of the workers there was Belgian, and he spoke French.
Yeah. Oh, thank
And I decided, I finally got my boss to have him translate to me. And he said, mais vous allez trop vite. You go too quickly. You're supposed to leave them on the circuit tester for 30 minutes. And then you're supposed to put them on the shaking machine for 30 minutes.
Oh.
No wonder my production was so great and I was getting them back so quickly. No wonder. You you see?
Oh, that's
So from then
Okay.
on, the last 2 weeks at least of my employment, I believe perhaps produced better walkie-talkies
Oh, no.
than the previous 6 weeks.
What happened to the
Oh,
ones
that's
that you
wonderful.
quickly tested? Did they go out to people and they're like, Mayday, Mayday, hello, hello?
I have no idea.
Oh, no.
We'll never
But-
know.
Whenever I see a washing machine or something that is made by Bosch, B-O-S-C-H, I remember
have a
that.
dishwasher.
You have a dishwasher made by Bosch. Now you can
Of
thank
course.
heaven. You can thank heaven that your brother-in-law, your little brother-in-law, was not on the production line testing that washing machine. With a wonderful boss who spoke Berliner at the rate of about, 79 miles an hour.
It works very well.
Oh,
Very good.
good.
Oh, that's
Anyway.
funny, Steve. Oh, that's wonderful. Well, I'm glad Mother made it home all right, and the
Yeah.
furniture and everything. Oh my goodness, that's.
Well, she went back
couldn't
with an empty
remember that
van,
story.
but
I
she
know.
went back with an empty
Yes,
van, but it was a little harrowing her
Right.
But,
thing, and she really
yeah.
believed that those children were angels sent by
We're sent.
the Lord to protect her
Yes.
and to help her get
sure.
along.
I've had
And,
some
Well, she was
paranormal
always
things.
praying, especially around David.
She was what?
Yes.
What did you?
She was
What did
always
you say?
praying, especially around David.
Well, I must confess
Uh-oh.
that it took a lot of prayer
Yeah.
to raise a son named David. Yes, the future prophet,
Yeah.
the future prophet and king of our nation. It took a bit of prayer.
Just
But the one thing your father
Aw.
was most noted for, and your mother, my mother, sorry, his mother,
yeah,
That's
you
okay.
too, Mom.
one thing she always would say, because he was the naughtiest of us all, you see. But one thing she
Yeah,
would
I
always
know.
say is he never went to bed without confessing what he had done during the day.
Right.
Yes.
He-
He
he could not
confessed all
sleep.
day.
Without confessing. So when he had taken money from her purse to buy books, and we have many of them still here in the cottage, books on the Bibliothèque Verte, Bibliothèque Rouge. Anyway, whenever he went
I'd
to
love
buy
to
books,
have some of those books.
He had to
well,
confess
of
about
course.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
And
that's
anyway, whenever he would do
wonderful.
like a
that,
good
he would
thing to be.
later in the day tell her.
Oh. Okay.
Oh,
I'm sorry,
yeah.
Michelle,
Yes.
It sounds like
Yeah.
he's confessing about doing something good, like educating himself. But I guess
Well-
he took it without asking.
Yes, it was
Yeah.
wrong to take to take, my brother Philip confessed recently that he did the
Uh-oh.
same thing.
Oh, boy.
But
he
anyway, that
did?
wasn't,
Oh.
that's what he claimed.
Oh, he's a bad, bad boy.
Oh, times
And of
have
course,
changed.
your father loved to tell, Michelle, your father loved to tell the story of when he came home one night extremely late.
Oh, here we
And
go
he
again.
came in the entrance to what we call the sunroom at the East Lansing house, and he came home very late, and he saw 3 standing figures.
Uh-oh.
His mother
Oh.
surrounded by 2 very judgmental boys.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Because, of course, we would take on her attitudes,
Oh, great.
Yes. Oh, yes. Forever late.
Yeah.
I didn't put it on his stone, but
Well,
I remember.
He's in his own time zone.
Oh. Yeah.
Well, he did have them. But, you know, it was very hard for him to have he had a mother that was rather, let's say, my mother wanted to control a lot. She wanted, and especially if she thought we were out of line, you know.
Right.
And of course, your father told you, didn't you? I'm sure he told you both about the story of his mother and the piano, and insisting that he practice the piano. And he'd start wiggling after a while, and he had to, he had to go to the bathroom. He said, "Well, I have to go to the bathroom."
We didn't say that around here. You just came out and just said it.
I had to go to the bathroom. I just had to go to the bathroom. And Mother finally, she was going to put a stop to this. She knew he was just trying to get out of practicing the piano. So she said, she says, "Now you just wait. You just hold it in and you just finish that scale or finish that thing. You finish it." And so he went out. He went on the bench.
Oh, boy.
Oh, well, that showed her. Oh, dear.
That happened to me with Mom in that C-Mart.
What happened?
Oh, you were making me try on shoes. I hated shopping. I think I was 3. And you were having me try on shoe after shoe. I couldn't take it anymore. And then, I did the same thing, and you threw the shoes on the floor, and we ran to the car.
Oh,
I left a
remember
puddle
that.
in the middle of C-Mart.
Oh, in C-Mart. Oh, my. I didn't know. Sorry, honey.
You did know, but it was a long time ago.
I seem to remember. Well, I'm not sure. My memory isn't as good
it worked.
as everybody
We got out
else's.
of there. I was happy.
Oh, I'm sorry. Gosh.
That's
Well,
okay.
your memory can't be the same as everybody else's, because everybody remembers different parts of the same thing.
You were just saying that.
Yes, I noticed that.
Well, speaking of remembering, Uncle Steve, do you want to remind Mom about when Aunt Marion would call grandfather at our house?
Oh, yes. My father and my Aunt Marion, we were not related. Aunt Marion, is from the Roosevelt family, and she was a Hoffman herself, but she was a double cousin of Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
Oh.
She told me once she said she was a second cousin once removed. He was a generation
what happened to your
above
R's?
her. I mean, because he was born in 1882, I think, and she was born in 1903. You see. Mm-hmm. Anyway, she was a second cousin once removed through the Delanos, through his mother, you see. Mm-hmm. And she was a fourth cousin. She was a fourth cousin once removed through the Hoffmans and the Roosevelts. Hoffmans were her family.
Oh, my.
You're feeling okay?
Aunt Marion adopted us.
You stopped rolling your R's. Are you getting tired?
I didn't roll my R's. The Roosevelts. Well, I said Roosevelts the way Americans would say it, because after all, it is. Even though you know that his son. Let's see. No, he was the Franklin. This was Senator Mark Hatfield said this at the dedication of the memorial of Franklin D. Roosevelt. He had one of the princesses of Holland. Now she would have been she was the niece of Queen Wilhelmina, I believe. Either that or she was the niece of Beatrix. Beatrix, I don't know which.
Beatrice.
She was a niece of Beatrice, was she? I'm not sure. Anyway, her godfather was Franklin Delano Roosevelt. The Roosevelt was it's a Dutch name anyway, it's a Dutch name.
Yes.
But Aunt Marion, now Aunt Marion and my father, even though she supported our family, do not think for a moment that in her case, my father kowtowed to her. They would often fight like brother and sister, She often did, in fact, with me, when I was determined when I would go back to France when I was a teenager and when not. She made the final decision, which infuriated my father. But that's another question. You asked about her calling. When you were at the farm and you were a little girl, when I'm talking, I tend to direct these to Michèle because she's the next generation. So I apologize about that.
That's okay.
Anyway.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I don't feel left
out. Yeah. Anyway, Aunt Marion. Darby, you met Aunt Marion, didn't you? You met Aunt Marion. Of course.
Yes,
she was at your wedding. Of course.
Of course. Oh, I knew Marion very well. We were out on the island at the, the homes with Anne and Emily and, Mr. Barrett. Yes.
And that is actually, those were bungalows that she built during the war because her husband was Assistant Secretary of the Navy. But he died during the war. Now, it was non-combatant. Her husband got ill and he died. Her husband's name was Amar Johnson. And
Amar. I remember that.
Yes, and she would speak with she called it Fifth Avenue English. And Fifth Avenue, she would not like it if you called it a British accent. Though she would say, well, there's nothing wrong with speaking the way the Queen does. Now, is there?
Yes.
But nevertheless...
Well, she had a very good English accent.
Well, it was Fifth Avenue English, though. It was considered, it was the English of Franklin Roosevelt, and in the family there. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they spoke with that same kind of, that kind of accent.
That's
anyway,
what we call transatlantic, right?
Sorry. Go ahead.
Is that what we
my
refer
father
to as
and
transatlantic?
Yes.
British.
I once while I was in fact selling insurance here in Michigan back in my days when I was trying to find out what to do, in my 20s. I came across a woman in Battle Creek who spoke like my Aunt Marion, and I said, "You were born on Fifth Avenue." She said, "How did you know?" How did you know? Well, I said, because my Aunt Marion was born on Fifth Avenue. Yes.
Well, that's the first time I've heard that, but go ahead, yes.
Yeah, anyway, Aunt Marion and my father would often, they'd fight like brothers and sisters, They would have long disagreements, sometimes on moral rearmament. Aunt Marion liked everything that was positive. She adored John F. Kennedy. She wrote him and told him that he had to make Adlai Stevenson his Secretary of State because she adored Adlai Stevenson.
Yes.
She was very liberal.
Yes.
And she thought that was in line with Christianity, and all that. But Aunt Marion and my father, when they disagreed, often it would get rather heated. And one time at the farm, this I did get from your father. I wasn't there at the time, but he said
I want to know.
He said that they were out working in the yard, and my father often would enjoy working in the yard. He thought it was a man's duty, and all that. At the age of 92, he was out trying to edge my lawn. He would hide the stubble in his bathroom, and he'd spend hours out there trying to edge my lawn. My mother would get so upset about it. But anyway, he was out there working on the farm with your father and all that, and the phone began to ring. And the first thing he said was, "Oh, that's Marion. Just let it ring." And it rang, and it rang. And you had that outside ringer, you see, so that you could rush into the house in case the phone rang, right?
Yes.
Right.
So it rang, and it rang, and it rang. And my brother swore to me that it rang for an hour and a half without stopping. And for an hour and a half, my father ignored it. He was not going to be pushed into an argument with Marion. this afternoon.
They were a riot.
He just didn't have the energy for it, he said. Probably while he was throwing sticks across the yard or something.
They were a riot, though. She was something else.
Yes.
Do you remember how at your wedding, in fact, some of the pictures of your wedding that I have show her, she would have, Aunt Marion could not see very well. And she hated to spend money on herself. She was extremely generous. She loved to spend money on others. But buying a new pair of glasses she thought was just unnecessary. She would call it,
She should
it
see
was
Mom's
not
collection.
guided. Yeah,
It was
she
what?
would say it was not guided. Guided was meant that the Lord would guide you to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so she would not spend money on new glasses.
Oh.
And she would often, just to try to hide, the wrinkles, she would use this, what they call in French, farde. I don't know the English. She would use a lot of powder and all that. And if you look at some of those pictures where she took her glasses off, you see her eyes with a kind of corona of pale rose, you see.
So she was
Pale
guided
rose.
to use all that powder but not see straight?
Well, Michelle,
Yes.
she was a woman, and she wanted to look respectable. I mean, here she was. She was brought up, to be. I mean, you know that they. What is the hall that they rented for several years? It was.
I have the painting of it.
Blickling Hall. The family rented Blickling Hall.
Oh.
It's a castle in England, which by that time was
Michelle,
owned
don't
by the state. No, I don't know if that was before it was owned by the state, but at least the owner rented it out, and they would rent it out to the family. It's an enormous castle, enormous castle. I have pictures of it, But they rented Blickling Hall, and that's.
Or better not say.
Right.
Yes.
And if you see that, now I gave you a copy of that portrait of Aunt Marion at age 17, her coming out portrait. And in the background is Blickling Hall, you see. The one by De Laszlo,
Yes, that was the original was in the Smithsonian Portrait Gallery, right?
No.
It was.
The original was in Fellowship. It was in the Cedars. It was owned by the because when she died, there were many De Laszlos in the National Gallery, and when she died, she left it to the National Gallery, but they had too many De Laszlos. See, De Laszlo he was the portrait painter of the Roosevelts. And so they had many De Laszlos, and the National Gallery declined the bequest. And so the Fellowship put it up in the Cedars. And it's so large a portrait that they had to put it in that grand staircase that goes up in the Cedars there. And for all I know, it's still there. Yeah. And I had an artist take I had an artist take a giclée picture of it, and he did a giclée reproduction of it for my brother and me. And then I took a picture of that for you.
A reproduction, yes. I have it. She looks beautiful.
Yeah, I took that. I took that photograph for you of it, of my reproduction for you.
Oh, okay.
Because and I had it framed.
It's a beautiful
portrait.
Yes.
Well, David didn't want to spend the money on it. It was expensive. Anyway, Aunt Marion was part of high society in New York. You see.
Yeah. Isn't that something?
Her family was well attached, but it's her husband's. Her husband made investments, and that place you saw on Long Island. I don't know if you ever visited. Hewlett School.
Oh, yes,
that was the mansion. You did. Yeah.
Oh, sure. That was her home.
That was her home when she was a little girl. Right.
Right.
And so she sold it to Hewlett School, and that land that was near, there's an inlet of the Sound that comes in there where she used to have her playhouse. And but that's a wedding cake mansion, magnificent wedding cake mansion, and it became Hewlett School. I don't know if it still is.
Yeah.
And then she built these bungalows.
I don't think so.
This was during the war. What?
Yeah.
You don't think
school doesn't exist anymore.
It doesn't.
It's not a school.
Well, it may not.
I don't know what happened, but it was empty. And people lived in the carriage house, though. I thought, I'd love to live in that carriage house.
Well, the carriage house is where we went to school. They had an elementary school in the carriage house, and I went. Now I don't know if what you're calling the carriage house is the same as what I am, but that was what they called it at the time when I was a child.
The carriage house I think it's the gatehouse. I think it's the gatehouse.
Yeah, that's the lodge. Yeah, the lodge is where we usually stayed. You see, yeah, we stayed in the lodge. That was Aunt Anne's. That was Aunt Anne's home when she was a child. Aunt Anne was the daughter of her butler and her. Well, I don't know if he was her butler, but he was her.
The Baron.
He was the Barhams were the butler. That's right. But her Aunt Anne's father, the Gills, they were the groundskeeper. That's what I was getting at. And they lived in the lodge.
The Barhams, Mrs. Barham was a lady in waiting to the Queen, right?
I don't think so. Mr. Barham was certainly.
She was a lady waiting to somebody. No?
Well, no, I think they were servants of Aunt Marion's family for a very great while. But she might have been.
Somebody told me.
Yeah.
She was a lady in waiting.
Well, I don't know that. I didn't remember that. But Mr. Barham was her butler. And he would take us to Stony Brook, and he'd come and get us and for vacations. But he was her, and he had a bungalow right near her. And in between the Barhams, the bungalow where the Barons, it's like Bareham, Barhams, where they lived. Right. And the bungalow, which she had extended a bit, where she lived, was her playhouse, which was, she called it her playhouse. It was a playhouse that she had when she was a child. It was a two-room house, and it was in the same Paris green that she used on all the buildings. But those were built during the war.
Emily lived in one. Yeah.
Emily lived with the Barons. Yeah, and she had been Aunt Marion's nursemaid since she was a baby.
Yeah.
Emily had been Aunt Marion's nursemaid since she was a baby. Now, she was not that much older than Aunt Marion. So let's say she was the daughter of one of the servants of the family, you see, and she just stayed with the family. Yeah.
Oh my goodness! You have to write all this down.
I think they imported Emily. Yeah, I do think that they imported Emily and the Barhams from England. So it could have been from the time when they lived in England. Yeah.
I see. Yes, yes.
But they were always, Aunt Marion had idiosyncrasies that were really amusing. For instance, since she couldn't see very well, even with her glasses on, sometimes she would order Emily to go and rest, She wanted Emily to retire early. She was very worried about Emily. She was working too hard.
Yeah.
And Emily.
She was.
And so Aunt Marion would then do the dishes, and my brother and I assisted her. And you'd have egg and all kinds of things on the dishes, and Aunt Marion would just be kind of rinsing them off and putting them to the side and all that. And we would say, Aunt Marion, there's eggs still on the dishes. You need to actually wash them. And she would give us that look of amused disdain, where she'd say, "Oh, don't be so fussy. Don't be so fussy."
You say that.
but you see, no, it was, don't be so fussy now. You boys are, and because she didn't see the egg. And nearly every time, though, Emily would sneak back into the house and wash the dishes.
What now? She would wash them
We never
twice?
told on her.
Yeah.
We never told on Emily, but she told us. She says, "Oh, don't worry." She says, "I rushed back after she'd gone to bed.
Yes.
I did the dishes properly."
Oh, she
good.
was so sweet, Emily. Oh, and
she was
Anne.
lovely.
And the Barhams.
Yeah.
Oh, they were lovely people. I just loved them. Oh,
And do you remember
my.
Henry Barham?
Oh. Yeah.
Henry Barham.
Are they
He
still
was about my
alive?
brother's age. He was a little bit. Well, he was a little bit older than David, but
Yes,
the thing that was different about Henry Barham is he spoke like a true Long Islander.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
would talk
true
about
New
how I went up
Yorker,
to Hop-Hag. Yeah, they had this town
Right.
called Hop-Hag, and his son went to Hofstra, and
Diane went
they
to
would,
Hofstra and Hunter.
and the island, was called Long Island, and these were these Long Islandisms.
Yes.
But Henry was a wonderful
Well,
guy. He came to visit us in France when he went in the army. Yeah.
Yes, and his wife, I loved her. What was her name?
Well, she was from England, wasn't she? I think she was.
I know. Yes, she was.
Yeah. Marion would do a little bit of matchmaking, She was.
What was
and
her
he
name?
was a good-looking guy, and I don't remember now.
Huh.
I could ask my brother
I'll
and see if
think
he
of
remembers.
it, but not now. I'll
Yeah,
think
I
of
can't
it
think of
because
it.
she was lovely. Oh, I loved her. She reminded me of Petula Clark.
I can
Hello?
see that. I can see that
Can you?
in my memory of her. Yes. I never thought of it,
She did remind me
though.
of Petula Clark. Yes, and that was
Yes.
David's favorite singer. Yeah, Petula Clark.
Oh, yeah.
She's still, she looks the same, Petula. Oh, my.
Oh, yeah.
Good, yes.
Yeah.
Singers, yes.
Oops.
But anyway.
Who's talking in the? I didn't hear. Who's talking in the background? Or,
Mom got separated from her phone or something.
I
did?
see.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Oh, it's
That's all right.
glued to my ear, actually.
Oh, well, interference
Oh.
from the angels and
Oh.
guides.
Yes,
Yes.
that's right.
Yeah.
It's divine.
What did you
Divine intercession.
Right.
Oh,
Well,
it's been wonderful.
Yeah.
I enjoyed talking to you about it. Yeah.
Yes.
I
Oh,
have
yes.
too.
Well, we'll have to talk again. And, Steve, I want you
Yes.
to write all that down and send it to me.
Write all what down?
Yeah.
That I was a worst employee, the Robert Bosch Gemeinschaft
No.
nothing
Yes,
I've ever had.
I'll remember the sound, but I mean the family and and Marion's relations and everything. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Did I tell
but
you?
my
Did I
goodness.
tell you, Barbara,
Yes.
that now you've heard, of course, the voice of Franklin Roosevelt in his speeches. Like the famous speech
Well,
that he said on the 7th of December. He said,
A long time
"Yesterday,
ago, yes.
a
Yes.
date that will live in
Live in
infamy."
To me. Yes,
Yeah, no,
yes.
yeah, yesterday on December
Yes.
7, 1941, a date that will live in infamy. The
Yes,
United
you're
States
very
of America was, going on and on and on. Anyway,
Yes,
at Aunt
yes.
Marion's funeral, I finally met her ne'er-do-well nephew, her real nephew, that I had never met before. And it's partly because she didn't quite approve of him and his morals.
Oh.
I met him, and I overheard him. Now, he was talking to people in the drawing room, Now, you remember that Aunt Marion
Yes.
had a Berkeley Square, was the one with the higher ceiling, and that was her sitting room.
Yes.
And that's why I
I
always, in my house, I have a Berkeley Square. And by the way, Dennis made me these wonderful signs to go up there. And Aunt Marion's portrait is in
lovely.
Berkeley Square in my house.
Oh,
At any rate,
yes.
At any rate, at the funeral, I heard him telling people this. He said, "Well, you know, when I was a boy, I think I was about 13. Marion took me to this great mansion down there in Washington D.C. and to meet this absolutely boring couple. And I had to listen to them talk in this boring language about this and that and the other." And he says it wasn't until many, many years later that I realized that I was in the house of the President of the United States.
Whoops.
The way he said it, Barbara, sounded to me exactly like Franklin Delano Roosevelt speaking about it. It was exactly the same intonation, you know, the same, almost the same way. You know, he had a great sense of humor. Yeah, you remember the most famous speech Franklin Roosevelt gave. One of my favorite speeches is when he sat, and you know, this is where he sat, and he said. He sat in towards the lectern, and you know that he was, of course, paralyzed. That people didn't know that. But anyway, he sat into the lectern, and he said, "Now my family has been the brunt of many, insults from Republicans in the Senate." And he says, "Of course, I do not mind when they attack me personally. I can when they attack my wife and her activities, I let it slide." He says, "But when they talk about my little Scotch Terrier fella, it's quite another thing. When the Republicans passed a rumor that I had sent a destroyer to pick him up in a distant Aleutian island," he said, "my little Scotch Terrier fella, his back began to ruffle, and he did take exception to this awful thing." I can't remember the speech, but it was. If you ever can hear that speech, if you can ever get a clip of that speech, it is something to see, because it's Franklin Roosevelt at his most charming, and of course everybody was laughing. It's a wonderful.
Yes, he had a way. Yes. Oh, how that is cute. When you mentioned the Aleutian Islands, that's where, when my father graduated from Fordham University, they went right to war, and my father was flying over to the Aleutian Islands, and they parachuted and missed the island. This was very late at night, pitch black. They missed the island and fell into the, would that be the Bering Sea, I suppose? Maybe. But anyway, they missed the island, went into the water with all their equipment and everything. And my father was captured by the Japanese and was missing. I just learned this a few months ago from my cousin who passed away from the virus. He told me some of the family history, and he said, "Never did I see a family so upset to receive a radiogram that their son was missing in the war." And that was my father, missing for about 3 weeks or 2 months. I can't remember now. And of course, Bobby has passed away. But he said, oh, it was devastated your grandparents. And then about 3 weeks later, they got another radiogram that my father had been found. And he said, the food, your grandmother went in, she started cooking, and everybody was cooking. There were 5-course meals and celebrations that he was found. And I never knew that my father had been captured by the Japanese on the Aleutian Islands. So
Really?
that was
That is
something
amazing.
to learn. Yeah, I never knew it. He never spoke about it. There were only 2 people that knew about it, and no one ever spoke of it until Bobby told me. But anyway, it was really something. But
that is remarkable.
must have been awful. Yeah, and he survived. So, but it was hard to hear that he was in their hands, and he managed to get away. But he wrote the original survival manual for the military. And of course, through the years, it's been up. Yes, he was the original author. But of course, his name can't go on it because it's through the government. But he was the original writer of the survival manual. And throughout the years and through different wars, things changed. It was rewritten and, things added and things taken out. But what do you call that, Steve, when you, edit it? It was edited and everything. But he was the original writer of the survival manual.
That
and
is
now
remarkable.
I think, if he had been captured, possibly that was the reason he was chosen. I mean, not that anybody else was, but he was a technical writer also. So maybe that's how that happened, that he would write the original manual. But that I knew because he did say that to me one time, but he never spoke about anything, much. But I'm sure it was very bad what he saw. And and in the Korean War he was wounded too. He was stabbed in the back. And Bobby said my father would never go in their pool without a shirt on, an t-shirt. He would always wear a t-shirt so no one could see the scar, and I didn't know that either. So what the men went through was pretty awful, but that's what happened.
It made great heroes, but you hope it doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
No, I think we're well, of course, now we're fighting a cyber war. We're fighting different kinds of wars now. I mean, I'm sure there will always be troops on the ground someplace, but we've been in a war, a cyber war, for several years now. It's just coming out that all these companies are being hacked and everything. Apple was hacked just last week or maybe a few months ago, and it's just coming out. And the ransom they wanted was $50 million, and they're going to pay it, of course.
Oh boy.
So that's the only way to get the intelligence back. But yes, honey. Yes.
They should sell some kitty cat NFTs, make up for it.
Oh.
You said you would sell some. What was this?
Mom and I were just talking about the NFT little cat artwork that sold for $69 million.
Yes, you heard about that. The non-fungible.
You mean that? Oh yes, yes, that's amazing.
Yeah, Beeble.
An amazing thing.
Isn't that something? I suppose that was difficult to do. I'm sure I couldn't do it. I can hardly find anything on the computer. It always throws me out. But I get the passwords just absolutely kill me.
Oh, no. I'll write them down.
Yes, they throw me out every time. I've tried to buy something and it wouldn't go through.
Good.
But this one time I tried to buy some hand cream. Oh, if you want to stop, that's fine. I
No,
understand.
you might as well finish it. It's a quick one.
Oh, well,
Go on,
I tried to buy some hand cream from Sabon, and this square kept popping up, and I would exit out. I didn't read it. I just X'd it out to get it out of my way, and I X'd. And later that day, David was at work in Manhattan, and he got a call, an urgent call from an alert from American Express that someone was charging on his card. Well, I have an authorized card, with David. And so, but they said there was several $100 going up very quickly.
600.
And he said, Mom, what are you doing? And I said, nothing. I said, I just wanted to get a tube of cream from Sabon. He said, you just bought $600 worth of cream. And I said, what? I said, I ordered one. He said, no, it's $600. American Express has told me that someone is using my card. I know who the someone is. And he said, and then Sabon got into it, and they said, you have to prove that this is your mother charging and not some fraudulent, purchase being done. And he said, I'm trying to work. And I said, I'm sorry. But I said, he said, what are you doing? I said, I clicked on a box to get it out of my way. He said, every time you clicked on the box, you ordered another tube of cream.
What happened was you were not clicking on the XXX. You were clicking on, they're like, would you like this? Okay. Would you like this? Okay. Would you like this? Okay.
Well,
you were throwing everything in your cart.
Oh, for heaven's sake. And I just kept, it was in my way. So I X'd it out. I don't know how many times, but
Wow,
it was
that
over
does work.
$600. And the American Express was going crazy. They said, Mr. Haines, you have to find out who this person is. Someone is charging your card, and it's going higher and higher. And I said to David, listen, that box was in my way, and I couldn't see the tube I wanted. And he said, stop clicking right now. You're driving the card up even more.
That's not how it works. You were just throwing them all in your cart, and then in the end you checked out without noticing the additional zeros. You thought, oh, $6.
I don't even remember checking out.
Yeah.
I don't remember because they called David and said that there's an unusual amount of cream coming. Well, I don't know if they knew it was cream, but Sabon put an alert on, and so did American Express.
Yeah.
And oh, what a mess!
I don't think anyone's ever spent 600.
How do you spell Sabon?
Sabon.
Sabon.
S
as in Sam. S-A-B-O-N. Is it Sabon?
O-C-O-N. I thought it was Sebon, which would of course mean that's good. That's good. That's good. That's good.
It was good for them.
Oh,
Till you caught it.
They were very happy. No, they were happy. They sold 600 tubes of a little cream, but I said, and I had to call the store to explain to them because I was the one that was charging. I said, I'm sorry, I wanted one tube of that wonderful cream I love. And I said I ended up maybe buying a case or so. and I don't need that much.
It's just like
So
Dad with
they
the pepper.
Said, well,
you
we'll
have
look into it.
lifetimes
Yes.
worth now.
No,
You'll never be dry again.
No, I didn't want it. The box was just in my way.
Right.
So I thought,
yeah, you have to
this
read
is
those.
so annoying. So I just kept getting rid of it.
Like, okay,
And, oh my goodness. David was in the middle of a very important case.
Oh, now he's got two of them.
At work, and here, David, American Express kept calling his phone, alert, alert.
Just one alert.
Unauthorized purchase or something, and he said, "Oh, Mom, get off." Close your computer now. Just get off the computer. Don't buy anything else. So I've been banned for buying on the computer.
Yes. So then you asked me.
I click on anything that pops up.
Yeah, it would help to read it. I mean, it's only one word that you have to deal with. Shouldn't take too much of your precious time.
It looked like
you don't understand.
More than one word.
You don't understand. To some of us, when we reach a certain age, checkout looks like exit.
Oh.
And so
you
click on a box that says checkout, you figure you're checking out of that box.
Oh, yeah, that too.
I had no idea. I said, David, I did not. I ordered one tube. I don't know what they're talking about.
I was on the computer for 5 hours.
Yes, it is you.
Thing.
But anyway, yes. So he would rather I not do anything on the computer concerning buying.
Yeah.
So, that's darn. Today I tried and it kept saying invalid, so I gave up. And closed it out.
Invalid.
I don't know.
Anyway.
Every time I try to buy something, it's invalid required field. And I thought, that's my name, for heaven's sakes. What's invalid about that? So I don't know. I give up.
Good.
And then I have to ask if I can buy something. And then he says, no, you can't buy anything.
Oh, well, what are we going to do?
Well, dears, thank you for calling.
Of course.
I really do appreciate the call.
Yes, nice talking to
you. I certainly hope, perhaps, now I'm sorry, this is an editing question.
Mm-hmm.
How are you going to avoid either my getting sued or your getting sued by Robert Bosch Gemeinschaft mit beschränkten Heftigen?
Uh-oh. I don't think we said anything
You may have to change it to, Robert Bosch Gemeinschaft mit beschränkten Heftigen.
We're safe now.
Put down the German alphabet. Oh my goodness.
Anyway, dear.
Cute. But it was
Thank
fun.
you for calling.
Yes,
yeah,
of course.
I enjoyed talking to both of you.
We did too.
Oh, it was wonderful, Steve. You talk, Michelle.
Okay, well, goodbye.
I what?
I think we're signing
I
off
want
now.
Michelle to say something.
I've been saying enough.
No.
I guess we'll say goodbye now until the next time, and I'll text you, Uncle Steve, ahead of time, so you don't have to worry about the odd number.
Yes,
that'd probably be a good idea,
yes.
And then I can just tell you whether or not it's going to work out or not.
Sure.
This time it did, you know.
Oh, good.
But Uncle Phil is anxious because he wants me to come in and watch a segment of Maigret. Maigret, the French. This is the detective story by Simenon.
Oh, okay.
And all that. Anyway.
Oh, all right. I forgot Phil was there. He's so quiet.
Well, he says I talk too much. So I don't want it to get out to the general public that this is in fact true.
No.
So
Don't worry.
I'll tell you what, every third and a half word that I said tonight, maybe you can bleep out.
Yeah, we'll just do it at random.
I'm just kidding you. I'm just kidding.
That's sweet.
No, that would make it sound like I'm using
Phil.
profanity, which,
Oh,
okay, I'll tell him.
Oh, no,
Thank
you.
Okay.
Give Phil my love, yes.
Yes.
It was
I
wonderful talking to you.
Yes, it was.
It's nice talking to you, Barbara and Michelle.
Good. Yes.
All
Yes,
right.
don't forget I'm your sister.
In-law, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my
Wow.
goodness. What do we do?
Did you
What do we
forget
do?
that?
We'll get you a name tag.
Does that mean we have to fight? Does that mean we
Yeah.
have to fight? No. Anyway, thank you.
Yes. All right.
Okay.
Well,
Thank
enjoy
you
your
for
show.
calling.
Of course.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Talk to you
Okay,
soon.
goodbye.
Bye.
Yeah, goodbye.
Bye,
Bye.
Steve. Bye.
Bye.
Now,
Goodbye,
what do
both
you
of
want me to do? Yes, bye.
you.
Now, what?
I leave with that laugh. That was funny.
Right.
Goodbye.
What
Bye.
happened? Yes, bye. Oh.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
All
Now,
right.
is it my turn to say goodbye?
Oh, no. I think we're
Oh,
just going
no.
to fade out on the goodbyes. The never-ending
Oh,
loop.
okay. All right. Well, why don't you hang up because I have a difficult problem in saying goodbye.
I know you do.
Well, you know,
I know
when
you do.
say goodbye, I say goodbye, and then you say bye, and then I say bye.
I
and
know
I get,
how it works.
yes,
But I
so
can't hang
I'll
up.
let you hang up on me.
Okay, well, I'd love
Oh.
to, but I can't. I'm in the booth, and
Oh,
Tim
you-
left.
Is Tim asleep?
No, he left. He's going out because it's
Oh.
Saturday.
Oh, he laughed.
Yeah. So once we hang up, I'll go out and I'll hang us
Michelle.
up.
Yes, I'll hang up.
Oh, you think you can
want me
do
to hang
that?
up now? You mean you're there all by yourself?
Cho is here. The
What?
dog. Cho, the dog.
Oh, there's a guard dog. Good.
You know who Cho
Okay.
is.
No, I don't.
Cho is Tim's dog. The studio dog. Yes, you do.
Cho?
Cho.
Oh, Cho?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh my gosh.
I didn't know Cho was Tim's dog.
Really? Who did
I really
you think
didn't.
she was? Okay.
Someone else's?
All right. Well,
I didn't know.
piecing
Okay.
everything together.
All
It
right.
took 3 years. All right.
But, yes. Well, maybe I forgot. Oh,
Hey,
the
Mom, look
keys
at
aren't in
Tim's
the
dog,
refrigerator
Cho,
yet.
in a sweater. Hey, Mom, look at Tim's dog, Cho, with a Christmas hat on.
Maybe
look
I
at...
forgot. Maybe I forgot.
Oh, that's okay.
But I'll
need
let
to
you go now, honey.
save space in the little
Yes.
brain. All right.
Okay. It's raining here, too.
2? It's not raining here.
Oh, I thought you said it's raining. It's raining here
Oh.
all night.
I don't think I said
So-
that, but okay. I don't know what I said.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
remember. It's
I misunderstood.
Yeah,
Yes.
oh, hmm.
Okay, honey.
who'd have thunk?
All right.
That could happen.
Take
Okay.
care, sweetie.
Thanks, you too.
All right.
All right,
I'll talk
goodbye.
to you soon.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
You're going to have to be the
Bye.
one to hang up, Oh, wow. Good. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. That was On the Line with Babsie. I'm your host, Michèle Haines, and we'll be back in a week or so with more. You can find us on Instagram at... I forgot where we are. Oh, that's right. At Chèle on Earth, Chele on Earth. And if you need to reach us, Michèle at chèleonearth.com. Just one L. See you later.